Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neil Haley Show. You can check me out on Twitter at Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley Facebook, LinkedIn Neil Haley Instagram Total Tutor, Pinterest Neil Haley Google Plus, and also on Periscope at Total Tutor, NeilHaley.com. And I want to welcome to the program my co-host Peter Elvich. Peter, I told you this is going to be crazy. Such interesting guests when we tape at 2 hours of television like this, and there have been some wide variety of backgrounds so far, Peter, haven't they?
Oh yeah, very interesting. I've had an awesome time being a part of it, and I'm looking forward to our next few guests because it's always awesome to learn about new things and new projects and awesome people.
So I'm excited to welcome the program award-winning composer Star Parodi. Star, thanks for calling. And Star, you have so many amazing projects. 13 minutes is definitely not enough time for you, but oh my gosh, you've had a tremendous career.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Star, now, did it all start with the Arsenio Hall show, or kind of give us through that little story?
You know what? That was really kind of the big thing that started everything. But I had a lot of really interesting projects leading up to that. I was had a little part of being on Fame.
Oh, okay.
Which was, yeah, I had started to do some writing, and I wrote some of the production numbers on Fame, and then I was an on-camera musician. Kind of at the end of my high school, I walked right out of my high school halls into the halls of the high school at Fame, which was just weird, but really, really cool. And then I was on the road with George Howard, who was just a wonderful soprano saxophonist. We had an amazing band, and we toured opening for Whitney Houston and Bill Cosby, and just, had kind of an amazing, that was kind of my first tour, and then the Arsenio Hall show happened right after that.
Oh, wow. Okay, so can I ask a couple questions about Fame? And if I am able to keep you a little longer, a second segment, it'll just depend. I might have an opening. I don't know. It's crazy. When you go live radio and then tape television at the same time, it's like you can't move around, make text messages or anything. You just got to just keep going because you have a camera on you. It's funny, when you do radio, you can do everything.
Oh
You could show up in your PJs and be fine, but when you're doing television, you can't do that. So yeah, tell us about Fame. I mean, I was such a huge fan of Fame. That project must have been amazing to be part of.
It was really amazing, and I never really found out how it came about, which is a testament to just kind of being ready and being open for whatever comes your way. And, it was just, it was a television show that I was involved in, and just, they were looking for musicians, and actually they had never really had a woman musician, and they called me and said, do you think that anyone would believe that there was a girl keyboard player at the school? And I said, yes, I think so. And then once I started just being an on-camera musician, and we sometimes would play live on the show, and sometimes we just play lip sync to tape. I started writing and wrote some of the production number, songs and stuff like that, which was really, really cool. And that, it was kind of towards the end of when they were on the air, and it was just a really cool experience.
Definitely. And so that led to the opportunity with Arsenio Hall show? Or is there a little bit
Not
before?
really, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess one thing does lead to another. That wasn't really what led to it. It was just, I had been asked by a local newscaster, who was also a comedian, Fritz Coleman, in Los Angeles, to do his talk show. And he just didn't have the budget for a whole band, so he wanted me to just be the whole band. And I remember having about maybe 10 synthesizers, and he wanted me to stand on a forklift, which I did. and he had a very short-lived but really cool talk show in LA, and I think that was kind of what led to being on the Arsenio Hall show, as well as some personal relationships. and then just auditioning for it.
Right. And once you're part of that band, wow, right? Especially because Arsenio, that really was one of the big things of the show when the success of the Arsenio Hall show, in my opinion, for sure. The band and everything. Arsenio really utilized that as an important part of his whole brand and his whole show.
Arsenio is a bass player and was always wanting to sit in. He was actually a really good bass player, and he was such a fan. I think one of the things that really contributed to the success of his original talk show was that he was such a huge fan of everybody that came on the show, that he just had kind of an effervescence about him. And he was like that with the band too. He wanted to feature us because he was, he just loves music so
Right.
much. He wanted to hear it.
That and that's great. And did you enjoy working with the band and stuff? And did you learn a lot from that experience?
Yes, I did. I was a really young musician at the time. That was, a completely different experience than the smaller talk show I had done, or any kind of, road experience, being on live TV and having things happen that were unexpected. Oftentimes, for instance, a guest would just start singing
Right.
song, and you just have to start playing it, or if somebody could say something to you at any moment, you just had to make sure, that you were ready and listening. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. The band was really close. We were all very close friends and still are. And, it was like a big family. It was a really, really neat thing to be a part of.
It seems really neat for sure, and having that experience. But what it's interesting when you look at your background is that, you played in the band keyboard. Am I correct? Is that what you're playing with the band?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I was playing keyboard. And
So that evolution of keyboard to composer, because again, you're a multi-award-winning composer. Which came first, the composing or the keyboard, or you were working on both of them at the same time?
I was always composing, even when I wasn't doing it for an orchestra or for any kind of picture. I just always loved writing and was always writing stuff in my head. But concurrently, while I was playing on the Arsenio Hall show, my husband and partner in life and everything, and I started writing for movie trailers. And we got the opportunity because a neighbor of ours was a producer of some movie trailers, and he needed somebody to do something for, I think it was Mississippi Masala or Straight Outta Brooklyn. I think it was those two that were our very first one. And we just kind of got the knack for it. We really loved it because there were so many different musical styles,
Yes.
that we could really delve into. And it was just really, really cool. Also, we got to use the very best musicians in LA, and we were recording all the time. And so it was just wonderful, wonderful experience. And that kind of took over. So when the Arsenio Hall show ended, I was pretty much writing full time. I was asked to go on the road with a couple of different bands right after the Arsenio Hall show ended, and I just really wanted to spend my time writing. So that's kind of when it really transitioned to kind of full time writing.
Wow. Okay. And so, kind of define composing for me. Like, you understand producers and TV, and you understand executive producers and also the director. What does a composer do? And you said especially with movie trailers is where you started. How does that work? You are writing the theme and everything like that, then you get the musicians together. So kind of define what a composer does.
Well, a composer for picture really is telling a musical story, and trying to find something that's either going to enhance the story and the picture, or that's going to be so transparent that it just kind of is underlying but doesn't create any kind of an overly sappy or
Right.
you know, any kind of a feeling or something that really builds reaction. And you do this just by looking at the picture and feeling the picture and, you know, just writing music for it and then bringing it to life with live musicians, sometimes with an orchestra, sometimes with a band, sometimes just solo piano or a solo instrument like a guitar. And then, of course, when you're writing, you know, for a picture, there's a lot of people involved. In movie trailers, there's a whole lot of people involved.
Right.
Because it's such a, you know, there's such a big consequence if the movie doesn't open. So for movie trailers, basically the goal is to try to tell the story of the movie to as wide an audience as possible. And oftentimes there's many different movie trailers that kind of target different audiences. Maybe, you know, there'll be one that will target teenage boys and one that targets their parents.
Yes.
And, you know, I mean, you just never know. So you have to be really cognizant of that. And also musically, the style, you know, really goes along with that too. And then as far as longer form, you know, it's really all about the story and the director's vision, and the characters in the story. And then you kind of create a palette of sound that you decide, you know, this is going to be an orchestral score, or this is going to have some really cool ambient pads with a couple of solo instruments over it. And then you use that palette to create the score.
It brings the characters to life, Star. Okay? And like I think of just watching an old Goonies film. My wife purchased it for the kids during a little bit of break where I was off, and for $4, and I start listening. And what made the Goonies was Cyndi Lauper and also the other music that was composed throughout that time. The stuff that was out there, it just told the story and made the characters come to life. Sometimes I think that's missing at times, Star, in a lot of projects now, is the music. You agree?
Well, are you saying that the music is different than it used to be, or are you saying that maybe the music...
Some people miss the point. Like, think of Star Wars. Think of Star Wars and how they're able to allow music to be almost as important a part to the storyline. That some of these people get this and other people don't, involving music composition. I think, in a way.
You know, I agree with you. I totally agree with you, and I think that what you're hitting on is that there's themes and melodies, and I think that there's been a trend to get away from that in some ways, that's kind of been considered kind of an edgy thing, or kind of a way that people have kind of gone, where it's just very ambient underneath without the themes and melodies. And that's just, you know, it's another way of looking at it. But I do love the themes as well. And especially, you know, you can really, it doesn't have to be a theme for a person. It can be a theme for a place. It can be a theme for a time, you know. So there's, you know, when you're so right, when you hear Star Wars, I mean, that's just, you know, one of the greatest.
Exactly. And we'll talk about the James Bond thing quickly, but I want, just in case if our other my other guest does get on the line, tonight in Oregon, tell us about that, especially what your event tonight in Oregon, your concert. Tell us about that.
Well, I'm doing kind of a mini tour. I started playing solo piano. I've always played piano, and it's kind of a touchstone for me. And I did a solo piano record several years ago called Common Places, which really met with a lot of critical success, considering that I did it, you know, just really for the love of it and for, you know, wanting to play and really connect with people. And so I just have finished another record. It's called The Heart of Frida, and it's music, solo piano music that's inspired by the life and art of Frida Kahlo, the great Mexican painter. And so I've just been, you know, it's actually, today is really the official release date of it. And I've just been, you know, going around and playing concerts and, you know, connecting with people. And that's one thing that I'm doing tonight. I'm playing in Florence, Oregon. Last night I played in Eugene, Oregon. And a few days ago I played in Seattle. And just kind of doing a mini tour, just just to play and connect, and I just enjoy playing so much, and to support this record as well, the Heart of Frida record.
All right, well, fantastic. We're going to your best place to purchase your music right now and find out information about you. Where can we go? And I want to see if I can hold you on for a little bit more for the second segment. Best place we can find info, just so if something changes, Star, where can we go?
Oh, you can go to iTunes or Amazon or Bandcamp, and any of those places you can find my music, and you can download it, or you can get a physical CD of it.
All right, well, fantastic. Thanks. We'll hold you on for one more segment, but when we get back, you're watching the Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment. We're back to the Neil Haley Show. I'm with my co-host Peter Elvidge, and I know, Peter, you have a question for Star. Tell us, ask us what question do you have for Star?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a bit of a curveball question, and you might relate to it, you might not. But I'm just generally curious for the sake of educating not only the audience but yourself possibly as well. Did you know that for blind and visually impaired students that there is a Braille code for music, being able to compose as well as be able to read it while they're playing their instrument?
No, I didn't, and that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
And the reason why I ask is because having a lot of experience myself doing well, like I was in school, I was going through class and learning guitar, and having the limited vision that I have, I was learning music code at the same time. And I like to tell people those really fun facts because the music code, math code aren't very publicly known. It's just the basic Braille code that's known. So I figured someone in your aspect of music, which is a major thing to me as well, I thought that would be something rather interesting because you can get this digital format for various different devices, and or you can get it physically printed out, and people can read it while they're either playing an instrument, or maybe they do have an ability for vocal solos and for all these different sorts of things. And it's it's an interesting thing I just wanted to put out there, not only for the audience, but maybe if you didn't know yourself, something fun for you to know.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful to know. So are you saying that as well as other kinds of formats, that there's classical music that's written in Braille for people with visually impaired to learn, or?
Yeah. So basically, like anything that's how like you have musical textbooks, like if you were to go to school, you have different songs and different things for like instruments, and then you have different keys and the different various symbols for music. And what they have is it's a music code and different combinations of cells of dots compensate for either a certain key or maybe a certain symbol, to tell how the high or low the pitch is. Same thing for vocals. There's all sorts of different stuff, and I just found it to be rather fascinating. Not only when I was learning it, but I also find it fascinating when telling other people, because they might not necessarily know about it. And having a friend that does, he does composing music of his own from purely just sounds in the normal world. It's just awesome to tell different people to give them that experience, or to maybe give them that the idea to go out and Google it or check it out. You know what I mean?
Right. Definitely going to check it out. That's really, really interesting. I didn't know that. That is really, really cool.
That is very interesting as well. It's very interesting. Peter's my personal assistant and a producer, and he's able to really let us know more about the blind and visually impaired and some of the amazing things that they can do through technology and other opportunities for sure. Star, now tell us about James Bond now, that theme thing. I'm interested in learning about that opportunity and how cool that was.
Wow. Well, that was, again, just, the most amazing thing. Jeff, my writing partner, Jeff Fair, and I were doing, starting to do a lot of film trailers. This had just kind of happened. And we became acquainted with the head of creative marketing at MGM, whose name was Joe Nemzicki. And he was just a real visionary. And we just really hit it off. We had our own kind of musical language. And he called us one day and said, James Bond is, we're doing a new James Bond film, and we'd love for you guys to update the theme. And, what an opportunity that was. And so we did some demos, and really, I think it was our second demo that was really just a slight modification of the first one that they went with and really liked. And so we recorded that with just a very small orchestra. I mean, it was with live musicians, but it had a lot of synthesizer on it as well. And it was very guitar heavy. We used Peter Manu from the Arsenio Hall show on guitar.
Oh, wow.
Amazing guitarist. And it became kind of an iconic theme for them. It was used in GoldenEye, and then they used it for Die Another Day and The World Is Not Enough in their movie trailers. They used it in a bunch of advertising, and then they also had it on the Best of Bond, their 40th anniversary Best of Bond, which was a gold record. And it was just, one of those things where when we kind of became associated with that franchise and that theme, it just really opened up a whole world to us. And we started doing a lot of different other themes too. We worked on Mission Impossible and The Saint and The Wild Wild West.
Oh, wow.
For a minute, we were the spy theme people. But, I guess you are what you most recently do, So for a while we did that, and it was just wonderful. It just was, I love the Bond movies.
So when you got awards, what are the awards for as a composer? What film? What was it, film or television that you got the awards for?
Well, we've gotten a lot of different awards. We've gotten some BMI awards for television, but we've also gotten a lot of Key Art awards, which are kind of the big award for movie trailers, and different film festival awards as well as Kelly's for a documentary that we worked on, and for a bunch of the movie trailers as well.
Wow, cool! A lot of cool things for sure coming up, and I think again having your music out available for the public and the new album and stuff, that's exciting for you too, right? That's got to be an exciting, yeah.
Well, the thing about doing your own record is that although it's not the picture, I kind of have a picture in my mind for each song, and so I really feel like I'm painting a picture and telling a story when I'm playing piano for people. And I'm so excited because in October in Los Angeles, I'm teaming up with a couple of aerialists who were in Cirque du Soleil, and we're going to do solo piano and trapeze with kind of a multimedia thing. And I'm so excited to be taking the piano in these different areas and hopefully connecting with people and, playing music from the heart of Frida and kind of telling Frida Kahlo's story in music. She was such an inspiration to me, and so it's really fascinating to kind of learn more and more about her and her life, and then try to kind of communicate that with different audiences.
Well, definitely. Definitely. What do you think else is new? Are you going to be? Do you have any projects you're working on as a composer right now for any new films coming out or movies, or what's going on that end? with you and your husband?
Well, the thing that my record is just literally coming out today. So basically I'm going to be supporting that, for the next several months and really working on putting this thing together with the girls from Cirque du Soleil. And also we have this really special concert coming up. It's from the Alliance of Women Film Composers, of which I'm a member. We're doing a concert of our work in downtown Los Angeles next week. Is it next Friday on August 19th?
Yes.
Put on by LA Grand Performances, and so super excited about that too. And so that's kind of what's on the near horizon.
So after the album's out for a while and different things, then new projects come. But this is your definite passion and stuff like that. So Star, best place we can find information on you again?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Where can we find more info on you? Again, your website, things like that.
Yeah. So you can go to Parodi Fair, which is PARODIFAIR.com, or you can go to starparodi.com. And then, again, if you want to hear the music of my record, you can go to iTunes or Amazon or Bandcamp. And, if you just Google Star Parodi, you'll find all those things too.
And tonight in Oregon, especially, I'll have my PA tweeting it out once this hits the airwaves again later today with the link and stuff. In Oregon tonight at what time?
It is at 7:00 tonight. It's concerts at Kathy's, and it's actually a home concert. The email to find out about the details for the concert is kathypiano@gmail.com. Kathy with K, Kathy, piano@gmail.com, and that has all the details of the concert tonight in Florence, which is at 7. And then if you do Google me, remember that Star has 2 R's.
Yes. And I'm sure people have said parody instead of parody, haven't they? Star Parody.
I know. Isn't that the weirdest thing?
That would be a Hollywood name right there. Star Parody.
I know. Well, it's so funny. I have a bunch of last names. The Star is my mom's maiden name. So I have her last name, and then Parodi, we're Italian. Parodi is a very common name in Liguria in Italy.
So you could have a stage name as that with that. But well, Star, are you on Twitter too and stuff like that?
I am on Twitter. Yeah, it's just Star Parodi.
All right. Well, Star, thanks for calling. I had a blast, and that was a great question, Peter, for Star. Star will definitely look into that, and thanks for calling, and best of luck.
Oh, thanks you guys so much, and good luck with everything yourselves, and have a wonderful day.
Take care. Okay. Bye-bye. All right, that was the Neil Haley
Bye-bye.
Show, guys. Take care, and we'll be back next week. Good day, everyone.